What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another review. This time we're taking a look at Due Date. Let's waste no time. Let's get into this. Overall, I thought Due Date was a very entertaining movie. I think it's very derivative of planes, trains, and automobiles, since the characters and the story are kind of similar in a lot of ways. But to Due Date's credit, it does different. It does try to differentiate itself. But I still think both movies are very similar because basically the concepts are basically the same. A mixed match pairing having to travel cross country. At first they don't get along, then they slowly start to bond as the film progresses. That's pretty much what Due Date is. You got the character of Peter, played by Robert Downey Jr., who is like this snarky type of guy trying to make it home to see to experience the birth of his firstborn child. He gets he accidentally gets kicked off his flight, and then he has to pal around with this guy called Ethan, who is an actor and the man who he had met previously to getting kicked off the plane. Ethan is more of a light-hearted, fun type of guy. He ain't the sharpest tool in the shed, but his heart is in the right place. And from there, the fun begins. The chemistry between Downey and Galifianakis, I thought was actually really, really good. And to me, they anchor this movie. I don't consider Due Date to be a very, very memorable movie per se, but I will say this: Downey Jr. and Zach Galifianakis, they got really good on-screen chemistry with one another. I enjoyed their comedic bantering with one another. I like how they start off as, not being friends, but then as the film progresses, you see Peter warm up to the character of Ethan a lot. And they do become legitimate friends, and I attribute all that to the performances of Galifianakis and Downey Jr. This movie's got a lot of good running gags to it, like the whole thing of Ethan carrying around his dad's ashes in a coffee can, and then Ethan, and Peter's friend, played by Jamie Foxx, accidentally drink the ashes. I thought that was pretty funny. Uh, I thought that was a fun scene. The whole scene of Ethan breaking Peter out of a Mexican border. I thought that out of from Mexican border control. I thought that scene was hilarious to itself as well. The scene where they both trip balls while driving is funny. The scene where Ethan gets into a car accident because he falls asleep at the wheel is intense, but also funny to itself. Like, it really does have a lot of good, funny moments to it. If I were to have issues to it, I think there has scenes that I didn't quite think that were funny. The whole scene of Ethan going to his drug dealer's house to get marijuana. And the drug dealer, it's a cameo by Juliette Lewis and Todd Phillips, the director. It's not a bad scene. I didn't really get a lot of laughs out of it, to be honest with you. I thought it was kind of forced in a way. Jamie Foxx, who plays Peter's best friend, I think he's kind of underutilized in this movie. The movie sets up this whole scenario that maybe Jamie Foxx's character might be the father of Peter's baby. That turns out to be just to be forced drama that didn't really need to be there, to be honest with you. Michelle Monaghan, who plays Peter's wife, I don't think she gets enough screen time. Not only that, her and Downey, they don't share a lot of scenes together aside from just phone calls. I think this movie would have been a little bit better if we actually get to see Downey and Monaghan together on screen, aside from the ending where they're in bed with their child watching Two and a Half Men. The whole running joke of, by the way, the whole running joke of Ethan being a Two and a Half Men fan is actually pretty funny, and the movie does have a really cool payoff with Ethan being a guest star on said show. So I like the setup of that joke and the payoff too. To me, that works. Another thing that I did now things that I did not like, I will stand by it. Not all the humor in this movie is going to land. I do think certain actors and characters are kind of underutilized, and some gags, like I said, they don't fit with me. But one scene that I did absolutely enjoy was Danny McBride's cameo as a Western Union worker. That whole scene to me is utterly hysterical. I love that scene. I'm a Danny McBride fan, so just seeing McBride share screen time with Galifianakis and Downey, to me, that was the highlight of the entire movie. I thought that Western Union scene was freaking hilarious. So those are basically all my thoughts on Due Date. Don't really have a whole lot to say about this movie. It's fine. It's a quick watch. It's entertaining. It's not as good as movies of road trip buddy movies. It's not the best of the bunch, but I do find it to be highly enjoyable, and I am going to give it a 6.5 out of 10. Those are my thoughts on Due Dates. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Like the video and subscribe. I'll check you back next time for more.